Okay, finishing up the Pythagorean theorem notes, examples 1 and 2 on page 10 of your notes. We're going to take a look at example 1 first. It says the given lengths are two sides of a right triangle. So if it's a right triangle, then we know that Pythagorean theorem applies, so a squared plus b squared equals c squared. All three sides of the triangle are integers. That means they are whole numbers with no decimals, and together form a Pythagorean triple. Find the length of the third side and tell whether it is a leg or a hypotenuse. So all we know is we've got two side lengths that are 24 and 51, and the missing third side either has to be a leg or it can be the hypotenuse, but it has to be an integer, so it cannot be a decimal. So if we let it be the leg, and we have one leg that's 24, then we know 24 squared plus the missing leg, we'll call it b squared, is equal to 51 squared. If we let it be the hypotenuse, then we know that 24 squared plus 51 squared is equal to c squared. And what we're going to do is solve each one of these and figure out which one is the actual integer. So 51 squared is equal to 2601s, and 24 squared is equal to 576. So we've got 576 plus b squared equals 2601, and we've got over here 576 plus 2601 equals c squared. And so we're going to just solve for the variables. So our b squared is equal to 2025, and take the square root and get that b is equal to 45. And we don't have to worry about the plus or minus because we're talking about lengths of a triangle. And then we just want to double check this one because this is an integer, right? No decimals, we didn't have to round. So we know that we can have a side length of 45 that is a leg. But let's just double check and make sure that it doesn't happen in both cases. So we're going to add those. We get c squared is equal to 3177. And when we take the square root of each, we get that c is about 56.4. Okay, and it goes on, so we did have to round that. So that's not an integer. Also, in most cases, I want you to simplify this radical, but because we're just answering, finding the one that is the integer and then identifying what it is, it's okay to round it because you've identified that it's not a whole number. All right, example number 2, it says the sides and classification of a triangle are given below. The length of the longest side is the integer given. So our integer is 40, and that's going to be c. Okay? It also tells us that the triangle is right, so we know a squared plus b squared equals c squared. What are the values of x that make the triangle? So we're going to do x squared plus, and we need to square this quantity, x minus 8 squared equals 40 squared. And when we simplify this, remember to double distribute, so we get x squared minus 16x plus 64 equals 1600. And when we clean all of this up and set it equal to 0 as a quadratic, we get 2x squared minus 16x minus 1536. And then we need to set, we'll factor out a 2. And then, let's see here. We will factor that, okay, and solve for x to see which x value. Okay, that's the bell, so I'm going to stop it and let you figure out the rest.